McDonald's has entered a Minecraft movie universe, and Grimace, Birdie, and Hamburglar just spawned as new collectibles as part of a Minecraft movie meal with your choice of Big Mac or 10-piece chicken McNuggets with spicy nether flame sauce. Participate in McDonald's for a limited time. A Minecraft movie only in theaters.
Everyone deserves a chance in the driver's seat. For GM and Revolt, that means leading the way on the road to an all-electric future and envisioning a world with zero crashes, zero tailpipe emissions, and zero congestion. GM's committed to making EVs accessible for everybody. That means you too. So what are you waiting for? GM's got the keys. You grab the wheel. Learn more about an all-electric future and the 000 initiative at gm.com. GM, everybody in.
There's no purpose in teaching anybody who don't really want to learn, who really don't want to get to it. Everybody want to play entrepreneur. They don't want the sacrifice that come with this shit.
Late nights, early mornings.
You're going to lose friends, lose girlfriends, family going to call you crazy, not going to believe in you, then you make it, and then everybody going to be like, I'm proud of you, let me get some money.
What I've realized that wealthy people understand, and people in general, it's the small concepts that you can apply to get wealthy. You don't gotta be super smart and gotta know all the intricacies of real estate or taxes or e-commerce or whatever, trucking, whatever it is.
It's good if you want to be rich in that business, but you don't need to know that.
You don't need to know everything. You just need to know small, basic concepts. And one of the smallest basic concepts that anybody can understand is get money, buy income. Get money, buy more money.
I woke up feeling wealthy today. My bank account might not agree, but hey, that shit on the way. Me and my niggas laying brick on top of brick till we straight. If you the type that play the victim, you can't come in my space. You know this game ain't for the weak, it's hard to carry this weight. I keep my balance through the ups and downs, I'm never gonna break. You feel the purpose in my spirit when you look in my face. Cause this ain't a second I can waste, I'm putting food on plate.
What's up with it, wealthy people? Your boy David Bellard here, 1/4 of the Black Wealth Renaissance crew. Man, I am excited about today's season 4. We have another great episode.
Yes, sir.
Today. I'm here with my brother Jalen Clark. Jalen, how you living, bro?
What up, y'all? It's your boy Jalen, man. Another quarter of the Black Wealth Renaissance checking in. I'm feeling great. Back in Dallas, hot as shit, but you know, we making it, dog.
Hey, man, you see you popped out with the little...
Yeah, man, I had to get my kind of uncle swag on, I guess. But nah, man,
ready
I'm
to
popping.
go to the barbecue,
yeah,
huh?
I feel like I need to be on the beach, though. I need to be in the Caribbean, though.
Hey, man, this was up, man. You know, Dallas, it's lit out here. I'm glad to have you back in the city, bro. And shit, I'm just happy for the day. This is another great installment of the Black Wealth Renaissance podcast. And
Season 4, we've been kicking a whole lot of game, a whole lot of hot shit. Let us know what y'all been thinking of it. But up until this point, I'll let you get into it, my brother.
Sir, man. Today we got another special guest, a legend in his own right, for damn show. I know if you done heard, if you grew up in the mixtape,
Gangsta Grillz, you bastards! You got it.
You heard this iconic
Cannon.
drop.
Man.
Go run it back.
Cannon. That shit used to go so hard, dog. When I heard that shit, I knew some pressure was coming, dog. Yes. I remember being a little shorty. Whenever, you know, Wayne was doing this thing with the dedications and everything, I was like, man, who is this Cannon nigga, man? Why he keep on doing this? I think, like, you were one of the first producers that I really heard do, like, the drops, like, before it really got hot and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, like, as David was alluding to, we have a legend in the game, someone who's been putting on for really just the music industry, underground, breaking some of your favorite artists. None other than Mr. Dian Cannon. Thank you for coming on to the Black Wealth Renaissance podcast.
Appreciate you
no problem.
Out, Don.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir, man. So, Don, definitely want to say thank you for coming out to the show and joining us today. And we want to kick this thing off how we kick everything off, man. We just want to get into your journey. Like, I know we gave introduction, like I experienced from you, but like, in your words, can you tell us who Dian Cannon is?
Oh man, you said it was a legend. I just fit the description, you know what I mean? I'm not really a legend in my own mind, but, you know, I started off with a good journey, man. You know, I have a different outlook on, you know, most people pick up music and producing and, you know, certain things in their later years. I'm one of those guys that was born into it, you know what I mean? I got my first turntable when I was 3 years old, you know what I mean?
Damn.
5 years old, I was already DJing. And just watching my uncle, Keith Boyd, he taught me some stuff. I was already into it, you know. And 11, 12, I was rapping and making beats already. You know, I always tell people this. I always wanted to be the Shaq. You know what I mean? I wanted to play ball and
Make some
do music.
music.
But, you know, ball ain't panned out. But, you know, that's where I was at with it. You know, I always wanted to be this guy. You know, it carried all the way through Atlanta. Like, I didn't even know going to Atlanta to school was going to be so instrumental in my career in music. I just didn't know. I just thought I was going to school. You know what I mean? You just live a dream, and you come from a city of Philadelphia. You know, a lot of things, you know, it makes it hard to believe you can accomplish. You know what I mean? When you're going to school, you're going to high school, and they tell you you might end up in jail or you might not be, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's discouraging because, you know, you think that's your life. You see that all around you. Then when you're leaving high school for graduation, they tell you that. So, you know.
Don't come back. You're going to end up like them.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and then, you know, just being in the city and being able to travel Atlanta, I just didn't know what was in store. And when I got there, it was a great opportunity for me to really dig into my goals and get where I think I was going to be.
That's awesome. Yep. So I'm going to get into it. So you went down to Atlanta, moved from Philly. What was your first start? You started DJing in Atlanta? So talk through that song.
Did you DJ your way through like college to make some bread and stuff like that?
Yeah, so when I came down my freshman year, I had a setup in my dorm room, and we had a basketball court right outside. It was Brawley Hall was the name of our dorm.
Where'd you go to school at?
Clark Atlanta. Clark Atlanta AUC Center, you know what I mean?
Yes,
But yeah, we had a basketball court right outside our dorm room, and everybody, anytime I couldn't play basketball, I would DJ for, you know, so we'll have teams. If my team lost, I'd go to the room, play music. I'd put the speaker in the window, and I'd play it, you know, out the window while people jamming. The girls would come outside. I forget maybe Holmes Hall. I forget the name of it. Everybody come outside. You know, we had certain kids from the projects. They'd come over and play basketball. So I had the soundtrack. And I used to do all that, you know, at nighttime I'd make beats. You know, if I got called for the next basketball game, I'd go back out and play. But I'd still have the music running. But, you know, that was my start. Then that moved to, like, the cafeteria, which, you know, was different because I'd never seen that in no other historical black college where I went to, like, you know, Howard and all this. They didn't have that cafeteria where the DJ was set up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's all it.
Yeah. I was responsible. Y'all getting new information, but I was responsible for a lot of the food fights too. And then, I was playing like tear the club up and like all that in the cafeteria, and it'd just be a food fight. You know what I mean? It might be the football team versus, you know, Brawley Hall versus the basketball team, whatever. But I was responsible for them. You know, and that travel, we had something called the Student Center. And upstairs was like almost like a room where they had banquets and stuff at, and I started DJing parties up there. Now, as I got good, that traveled to something we call Pascal's. It had a downstairs kind of like little banquet center. I was DJing under there. I DJ'd on a promenade, which was like a long brick strip that connected all the schools. So like, you know, on Thursdays and some on Fridays was at Spelman, that would be just open. We'd go to class, but that whole day people be up and down the strip, buying clothes, you know, all the people out there just trying to make money. I was out there DJing for the whole day.
And that helped you establish your name in the city.
Yeah, it helped me establish because all the promoters around the city wanted to come see the young talent. So they would come out there. A couple promoters came and picked us up. I started going to the clubs. Started out like a club called Karma, which was a good underground club. And you had Chili Pepper. Yeah. All those joints in Buckhead, you know, it's part of Atlanta. I used to go in there and DJ. And then that, you know, I started doing these joints called it's funny, Louisiana, Texas party. So it was a Louisiana, Texas versus New York. You know what I mean? So that was like the most popular party when I was in school. You know what I mean? And I did kind of like the New York because, you know, when you're down south, a lot of the times, everything up north to them is New York. So like I was from Philly and I used to be walking around Atlanta. They used to be like, "What up, New York?" I'd be like, "Man, I'm from Philly. Why y'all keep calling me New York?" But I understood. You know what I mean? It was just an up north thing. Yeah. So we had this Louisiana, Texas party, and all through college, I was the DJ for New York, and Paul was the DJ for Louisiana, Texas.
Really?
Yeah. So we built a relationship all the way since then, and you know, he was one of the first couple people I seen selling his tapes out of trunks when he was going out there just trying to make some extra money. But that was like the Louisiana, Texas, you know what I mean? They call it latex. Yeah. You know what I mean? So
Oh,
that was the party that we used to do out there in college.
Going on after that?
It was called Studio Central, I think. I think the name of the spot. But yeah, that's where I got my real name at. And then I started getting in, early 1920, I started doing Puffs parties, Shack parties, all that stuff. Vision. Yeah, I started going crazy.
So how were you like networking and taking advantage of those opportunities to get into those areas, the puff parties and the shack parties and everything like that?
I know a lot of people don't want to do this, but I started off doing everything for free. You know what I mean? Because I wanted people to see how talented I was. So a lot of the stuff just came free. It was just something I love to do anyway. You know what I mean? So I was like, am I going to say I don't want the money and not do it and not get the experience? Or am I going to do it for free, get the experience? And people are like, yo, maybe that guy may not pay me because I did it for free. He's always going to wait that, but the next guy is going to want to, you know what I mean? So I started out doing that, and I was killing the club scene. I was the youngest, a lot of the DJs were maybe 5-6 years older.
At State Farm, we're committed to uplifting Black futures. In collaboration with organizations like 100 Black Men and National Urban League, State Farm provides high school students with the opportunity to learn and apply best practice strategies for saving and investing, all while offering academic support, life skills, and exposure to college access programs to prepare these students for life after high school. Check out 100blackmen.org and nul.org to donate and learn more. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
McDonald's has entered a Minecraft movie universe, and Grimace, Birdie, and Hamburglar just spawned as new collectibles as part of a Minecraft movie meal with your choice of Big Mac or 10-piece chicken McNuggets with spicy nether flame sauce. Participate in McDonald's for a limited time. A Minecraft movie only in theaters.
Than me, and they was just running the streets for real. But me being the youngest in charge at that time, like, that was the go-to. So I made my name, and the network got stronger. You know what I mean?
I feel you. So you took advantage of those opportunities. Like you said, most people don't want to work for free. It's not.
Yeah.
You look at it as like a bad thing always, but you took advantage of those opportunities and leveraged it to get paying gigs. So I kind of want to talk more about like transitioning it into a business now. Mm-hmm. Like so. You went from just being a DJ, kind of like a prodigy at it, to turning this into a business. When did you like realize that the music business was a business that you were gonna like work in?
I really didn't understand the business. Again, I always tell people that we never had an OG like, some of the guys that we look up to, like Russell Simmons and Kevin Lawson. Nobody really came and put their arm around us like, hey, I see what y'all doing. I'm going to show y'all how to really do this business. I was just doing what I thought was the right thing. Everything came like almost natural. It sounds crazy, but when I started DJing and stuff, I was like, man, I need a business card. My first business card was to make a CD for everybody to listen to with my mixes on it. So that's what I was doing, and I had my number. I had a SkyTel pager. I put the SkyTel pager on the number on the back, and I was like, yo, how can I brand myself? I had to make a logo. I had to make a drop or whatever just to brand myself because the competition was real. You know what I mean? And when I was coming up, Atlanta, Big Oomp Camp, they had the city on smash. You know what I mean? And Big Oomp had, Monte. They had, a lot of DJs, DJ Jelly. And these guys was already making CDs out there. So, we had to make something that was separate, to build my brand. And I watched them guys just really, like, captivate the streets. Like Jelly, Edward J, like Monte, all the artists. Big Oomp was really instrumental in the city. And I was like, man, how could we, we come into somebody else's backyard and trying to live? You know what I'm saying? How can we add instead of steal? Mm-hmm. So we just started adding to it, and then after a while, people took to the brand. Like I said, when I was 19, 20, like who knows at that age with no social media, no YouTube to look at how to make a logo. You know what I mean? How to do these things. How to make a cover. Yeah. Cover art, like you know what I mean. So it was just something I was just doing. It was something like I was.
So you done all of it yourself?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I had a logo. I had.
Were you a business major?
I was business management.
Business management.
Yeah. So I look back at it as 9, 10 years old. Nobody taught me how to make beats. I was just doing it. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I just figured out like, how did I record a demo? Like, where did that come from in my brain? There was really nothing to watch to understand this. I just knew. I just adapt to it as a kid. You know what I mean? A lot of kids don't get a chance to adapt to it because they don't know what to do. You know, I never had piano lessons. I never had drum lessons. I just was doing it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so I always tried to figure out what it was, and my mom would just try to always make me sum it up and say, yo, you're a prodigy. And I used to be like, yeah, but that just puts a closed door on what I'm talking about. I'm still trying to figure out at some point, how did I just get to this point where I knew what I was doing? Like, how did I know to make a logo? It just, you know, I guess, you know, business management, accounting, and building things. Like, I always wanted to be an architect, you know what I mean? But I was like, yo, I'm so confident in knowing how to do certain things. I needed to know how the business was ran. And that was the most thing. It's like, yo, you could be this big time producer. How you going to take care of your money? I got into business management, and I guess that helped, you know, to your question, how I learned to turn it into a business, like getting a logo. I'm 23 years old. I had a bank account with Canon Music. You know what I'm saying? It was just like, people don't know stuff like that. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it was just like, I was a little more advanced, you know, and not for nothing, when I met Drama at 19 years old, he was doing the same thing. And I seen him doing little things, and I just like, okay, let me not lean on him as much, but let me take what he's doing and figure it out. You know what I mean? Yeah, for sure.
So you meet Drama at 19. When do y'all start doing the actual music, like not just music? Because I know you're DJing. He's probably DJing. When do y'all actually come together and say, okay, we actually gonna start doing tapes? Or when y'all start collaborating on that?
He was already gone, so John was already popping all the way in Philly. So he came. He's a year older. They came down, and
did you know him in Philly?
I didn't. Okay. So my guy Jabari, that I knew in Philly, was like, yo, when we go down to Atlanta, you got to get with Drama. He's like running the whole shit. And I was like, all right, cool. When I get down, I finally run into him. I give him a beat tape. He goes, listen to it. And he's like, yo, you good as hell. Come to the crib. So by the time I was like already coming to his crib, he was living off campus. And he already had like these guys. They was big in the city called Binkus. And, you know, they was tied into Talib Kweli and Mos Def and Fat Beats. He was already like in motion. So I was just trying to get my beats to them guys, like just being in, you know, in his circle. And he already had a network. He had all these people around him. He was already like making tapes. He had like a dance hall mixtape. He had How the South was one, which was the original Gangsta Grillz. It was called How the South was one. And he had a Automatic Relaxation, which was like a neo soul tape. So at that time, I was making beats like in the basement, so those fit those projects, and I started producing his intros and stuff like that, just getting out there. You know what I mean? And then that just grew into a whole business of when Gangsta Grillz was started. We moved into me giving the records to the artists. You know, they were all new, so it wasn't like no stuck up in the air shit. Like, you know, T.I. was new, so him rapping on my beat, he was just doing his thing. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So that's how it just grew. We just met a whole bunch of people. I think the only person that was already moving by the time we started was Ludacris. And he was like big for the city. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, yeah.
Gotcha. So these mixtapes, right? We grew up in the mixtape area like we were saying in the beginning. Like, when did you guys recognize that Gangsta Grillz became this cultural, like this cultural thing? And from that, how did you guys start monetizing Gangsta Grillz? Because, like, we know mixtapes were free. We would get this music for free. We go to Dat Piff, LimeWire, wherever we was going to get it.
Or you had the big homie, you get it from him and you rip it from him, store it in your stuff, like.
So what year did y'all graduate from school?
2013.
Okay, so 2000. So in the early 2000s, when Gangsta Grillz was created, it was just a brand of everybody. Mm-hmm. And we knew it got big when Little John and, you know, Killer Mike and Big Boy and those guys was calling like, yo, we want to do a mixtape. Because basically, again, that's your business card. So that's what we were doing. You know what I mean? We were making business cards for these artists and we were being the spokesman for them. We're basically, you know, QVC is a great product. I'm on there telling y'all need to buy this product. You know what I'm saying?
It was the QVC of the streets.
You see what I'm saying? So that's what we was trying to do the whole time, was be these people that could, you know, front run the artists. Mm-hmm. So that's where it pretty much came from. That's where the brand started getting big. You know, we got to levels like when John Legend was calling and Gnarls Barkley, which is CeeLo, and Pharrell and Wayne, and then we was like, oh, we onto something. You know what I mean? So that's where it really came into play. Like we knew we had a brand. You know what I mean?
So when did you guys really just start saying, okay, we're taking Gangsta Grillz, we're going to really just switch over to the focusing on the artist side, you know, like the label side, and actually starting to push that type of stuff?
There was a time where we were doing all this stuff for artists, and all we were getting was the handshake, like, thank you so much.
Yeah, like,
you still doing all of that shit for free too?
No. But we were getting paid, but it was just like, it wasn't this big, you know, these guys are jumping to
back-end profits.
They're jumping to millionaire status, and it's like, we're stuck here. So we're just trying to figure out where it goes from there. We were good friends. We made good friends with a lot of the artists, but they were always signed to different situations. So we wanted to figure out how to get into that space. And the first thing was like, hey, Gangsta Grillz a brand. Let's do an album. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, the first people was Asylum and Atlantic Records that picked up and was like, oh, we could do an album and really monetize this the correct way. I think that's where it turned over to a real business, where it was like, okay, we're getting an album out. It's legitimately coming out. It's not, you got to go find it on the street or a line wire or nothing. It's just like legitimately coming out. So I think that's where the business started to flourish in a real space. And that's pretty much it. Like, you know what I mean? We just turned over leaf. Like I was saying earlier, we never knew what we were doing. We didn't have no manager coming and saying, yo, like,
do this.
No, we was just doing it. Like, you know what I'm saying? When you came with the deal, it was like, oh, we doing a deal. And we going to deliver. That's, you know, part of my forte and my toolbox is being an executor. So all I knew how to do was execute. I didn't think about anything else. You know what I mean? I just executed. I didn't care. I just wanted the job done. I wanted it right. That's just how, you know, I thought about it. So we didn't have a whole bunch of strategic things going on, because it was like, man, you got to strike while it's hot. What are we doing? Who's executing? You know what I mean?
Gotcha. And that's a strong lesson in that, though. Like, sometimes we always want to have everything all figured out, but execution is the way that you'll get to the point.
1,000%.
Whenever, 1,000%. Like you said, strike when the iron's hot. I really like that. So I guess my next thing that I'm wondering, you guys you got the first album done with the label. When did the idea for you and Drama come together for you guys to form your own label?
Right after the album. So again, we were getting offers, and it was like, man, y'all breaking so many artists. What are we doing? What are y'all doing? And the first person that came to us was Joey Manda. And Joey Manda has been, you know, a legend in New York and in the game. And he was running Asylum at the time. I think he had Swisher House. He had Dipset. He was doing a lot of business with them. And Asylum was a division of Atlantic and Warner at the time. And we went to Atlantic. We sat with him. We talked about him. He really saw the vision. And he gave us a record deal for Affiliates Records, which was our first label that really nobody really knew about. And we had an artist named Willie the Kid, and we were pushing him. When we did Asylum, we was like, oh, we could put out as many projects as we want. You know what I mean? On the great platforms. Like, we actually about to be in Best Buys. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we are focusing on. And within that label experience, we learned that always being in front of the artist doesn't work the same on a commercial level than a lot of times than it does on an underground level. So like if you got Swisher House and they're pushing all these artists, like the brand is making these artists because the city knew about the brand. Like the city knew about Gangsta Grillz, but when we're going to a commercial level, like the hires, they don't really know what Gangsta Grillz is. So we were getting in front of the artists too much and not letting the artists be out and us just pushing it. We was like, hey, you better listen to us. And they like, well, who the fuck is y'all? You know what I'm saying? So I think that's where most of the lessons in the business came early on, was our first deal with Asylum and just trying to figure out the process and how to really make it work. And yeah, that's pretty much it with that.
I'm glad you brought up lessons, because I wanted to get in that. What was that one of your biggest lessons when coming up, like that, not getting in front of the artists? Or what was one of your biggest lessons from that era before, you know, y'all really just started to really take off?
That was one of the biggest lessons. We learned that later too. We was like, damn, why does artists ain't working? We're working on everybody else. And it's working on the underground level, but it's not working commercially. But I felt like we were kind of like pushing too hard in front of somebody else's talent. We overshadowed it. So that was one of the, one of the things.
The stars over the actual rap.
Yeah, because actually we were, but we had some acts signed, but like we were gravy over. You know what I'm saying? It was just too much. You know,
like
it was too much.
If you were doing a show promoting Willie the Kid, people wouldn't comment for Willie the Kid. They would comment for Don and DJ Drama.
We didn't allow him to build into a space where he was on his own, and then we kind of, pushed it. It was just like, for some reason, we were so hot that everything that they were talking about was based on us. So it's like, oh, he just popping because of him, and that was we didn't see it at the time because we were in it.
More like a cosign type.
Yeah, like it was just too much. It was like they didn't even give him a chance. Dude could rap his ass off, you know what I mean? But he didn't get quite the chance because we were scorching hot, bro. We was all in front of them, like,
so
you know what I mean?
So from there, you guys realized that in order to build it more like a successful label, you had to play the background more.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, like we were putting him on a great song. He was on songs with Fab. He was on songs with everybody. But I think it was just forcing it on people more than it was. Like I said, he was talented as hell, but it was just like we couldn't see it. And then in the South, it's like you get all these people, they just talking from all over the place. That we started, we in Atlanta, we build in Atlanta, but we bring in like an up north type of artist in. It's like, it's just so much talk you hear that we had to focus on tuning out because it was like, yo, what is the real key and the issue here? Like, how do we get to the next step? So there was a lot of that confusion going on, but we learned through that in order to travel into the new business. Some things I had to learn, like I took a job at Def Jam just to learn, what was under the hood. Like, how's this operate? Why is it operating like this? What don't we know? You know what I'm saying? So those things all helped us grow into the business we have now.
Wendy's 2 for $6 lets you mix and match some of our best items, like Dave Single with a 10-piece crispy nugs, medium strawberry lemonade with a spicy chicken sandwich, spicy chicken with a Dave Single with a strawberry lemonade, strawberry lemonade, if you're into that. Chicken Sam, crispy nugs, strawberry lemonade, Dave's, nugs, Sam. Phew! Pick what you want at a price you want. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's 2 for $6. For a limited time, price and participation may vary at U.S. Wendy's. On the card only. Single item at regular price.
New generation now.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And I'm glad you talked about the job at Def Jam. What was your role first?
Vice President at A&R.
Okay. Yeah. So second is I want to, because a lot of people, we just see the final product of music, right?
Yep.
We don't see the process of actually creating the music, refining it, like you said, pushing it out. What does that look like to actually, what's some of the pieces of the team that's needed to be successful in the music industry, right? Like, football, you got linemen, you got a quarterback, you got a running back. What do you need on a label?
You talking about on an independent level, or you talking about on a label level?
Could you do a breakdown of both?
Okay, so on the independent level, you don't have like a lot of overhead sometimes to work on stuff, right? So one of the things that we always started out was with a good A&R. It was Artists and Repertoire is the original name of A&R, if anybody doesn't know. And they're basically doing everything, the artist and the stuff that comes with it. So that's creating the music, helping them find producers, helping them with songs at some point, the writers, filling out the split sheets, getting all the credits together, putting the album together, sequencing, mix and master, all that stuff comes with A&R. You know what I mean? And when we started, we had one A&R, and they were doing all that. On an independent level, some people may have 2 or 3 A&Rs. Some people may have a general manager, which helps the overall business be good. You have a president and vice president sometimes. That's for independents, that's a little extreme because it's just a lot of salaries being tossed around just to get one thing done. Some people got studios. They have studio managers, publicists, marketing people, independent marketing companies. So all those pieces go into making, these projects right. You have marketing, promotion. You have publicity, really. You know what I'm saying? The A&R, getting the music right. Fortunately for us, we were the A&Rs at the point. We were the ears. Mm-hmm. So we were the ones who getting everything together. From a higher level, you have way more. So when I was in Def Jam, I started learning. You got vice presidents, you got EVOs, which is executive vice presidents, EVPs. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You got promotion departments, marketing departments. On an independent level, we had one marketing person. Now you got 10 people working on,
just marketing.
Yeah, then you got product managers, which manage the overall project. Like where we pushing the project, when's it coming out, what markets are we going to engage in? So you got all that. Then you have your president, you have your sales, you have radio. Like independents, you don't have sales. Like we just go for what we knew. We went to the stores in a van and went promote it and be like, yo, can we sell this here in the store? And then or be like an artist, can he do it in store? So things change. So I'm like, oh snap, okay, people got whole departments for this stuff. You know what I mean? Then you got promotion departments, but back then we used to have snipers go out and put posters up and give out promo, give out towels, t-shirts, just to promote the artist. So it's so much that had to go in, and then you start lifting up a hood and you start looking at numbers and books and what a lot of labels go after. Why do they spend money on certain things? And
the NBA playoffs are here, and I'm getting my best in on FanDuel. Talk to me, Chuck GPT. What do you know?
All sorts of interesting stuff, even Charles Barkley's greatest fear.
Hey, nobody needs to know that.
New customers bet $5 to get $250 in bonus bets if you win. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook.
21 plus and present in Virginia. Must be first online real money wager. $5 deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable bonus bets that expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Why do they look at this artist as more popping than a talented guy might not be getting the most promotion?
Maybe a better musician or artist.
But his input,
he's harder to market.
His input is better than his output is better than the input. So sometimes he might have a record that's doing well in certain cities, and that's why his promotion is getting a little bit more of the upside than another artist that we be like, man, why is he not popping? He's good as hell. Like it's all those things that get in there. Except for independence, we go with what we know as an ear. He's the best. Put him out. This guy might be the most commercial success, but we always go for the ear. So it's just a lot that goes into the business. But I learned as in a corporation, you have all these departments that help you get your product fully out to the masses. Where independent, we just going for what we know. Most companies like that's independent, they go for what they know. We came from the streets. It was hustle. We didn't know anything. You know what I'm saying?
If
we didn't
feel
know.
Right in the work, we're gonna keep on doing.
That was it. We was in the field, so it was like we didn't know who to contact to do. We just threw it up and hopefully it stuck. You know what I'm saying? That's it.
Sure. So next thing I wanted to get into, you mentioned earlier when y'all had the affiliates, y'all was signed to Asylum, and Asylum was signed to Atlantic, correct?
It was a division.
So okay. I kind of want to get into the structure of some of these labels, because we know there's 3 majors. There's Atlantic, Warner, Def Jam. Is Def Jam part of Warner?
Def Jam is part of Universal.
Yeah, Sony still.
Sony. So you got. We can go bigger. I can't really get into it, but Vivendi is it's a company all the way over, and they control a lot of.
I actually tried Googling them niggas one time. It's so hard to figure.
Yeah, it's a lot. Like we'd be here all day trying to figure out what that is.
It's so many sub companies that make it up. It's just like backtrack to back.
Yeah, it's like really the big backers. You know what I'm saying? Then you had a company. So Universal has Universal Republic, BMG, Interscope, Def Jam. All those companies. Then you got Warner, which has. Atlantic Records is their sister company. You got Asylum still. Warner is standalone on his own. You have Elektra, which is a dance company. It's so many labels in there. ADA, which is like their press and distribute company. Then you have the Sony that has Epic, RCA, Sony itself.
It's a lot of layers to it. So I guess the reason I'm asking is because I always try to understand how these deals work with an artist whenever they get their own label, right? So an artist will sign. I always think about a Pusha T line whenever he was beefing with Drake. He said, "You signed to one nigga that signed to another nigga that signed to 3 niggas." I'll just be trying to understand the structure of it and how artists benefit by creating their own label.
Yeah, so I'll give you a two thing scenario. So some artists may sign to one person. So say I'm from the streets, I'm from the projects, and I meet the guy that got the money from the projects. We may do some business together to help me get to the next level. That guy might know somebody that's a club owner, and a club owner introduces us to, this is just an example. This don't have to be, I'm just clearly off the mind. Might introduce me to somebody they do business with at the club that's a label owner that has, signing power. In order to get to that next level, they may say, hey, well, I want to be in business with you. Let's sign this, and then I'll get you to this. And that's how you end up in 3 deals. You might end up in 4 deals. You might end up in, just 1 deal. So a lot of artists that come now, the way they get the videos out, the way they, use promotion, if it's not for free, they may look for somebody that has some backing for them. And that might be their furnishing company or whatever. And so that's how people get in these situations. But then, people, as we've gone on, people start signing themselves to themselves. They build a company, sign themselves to the company. It's just so many ways around it. Some people just like having backing. Most artists do, because you just want to worry about being creative. You don't want to worry about having to pay for this video, and what do I do next? Like, coming up, the kids are a lot smarter now. They're like, they're really cost effective. They're really smart with times and social media, where they know when to drop it to get the most shock value and traction. But there's also a lot of people that come from places where they don't have all those resources. You know what I mean? So we could get into that later, but that's why I was just talking about, like, getting signed to yourself is probably the smartest, because you have the control. You're the furnishing company. A lot of people go directly to the label, and then some people end up in those situations where they're signed to somebody that signed to somebody. But I don't think none of it is wrong, honestly. It's just how you think your steps are. We're all creators in some way. So in order to get to some of these levels, you have to have some type of sacrifices. You know what I mean? So within those sacrifices, you might say, hey, man, I need 20 grand to get me to this place. I need to travel to Rolling Loud. I need to do this. You know what I'm saying? So all of it's right. It just depends on the choice and what you want to do as an artist. And,
what's going to be your path. I feel you. Like, I kind of equated to the whole employee versus entrepreneur argument that's going on right now. Like, people encourage a lot of people to hop into entrepreneurship, try to be their own boss. And it may not always be the best path for that individual. Like, sometimes it's better to work within a different system, get that funding, that strong, consistent backing from something else before just trying to hop out there on your own.
Yeah, and I want people to stop stressing the fact that you have to do it on your own.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can find these pieces to help you get there. You know what I mean? And that's what the next level of, the new creatives and entrepreneurship is finding the pieces, But if you want to go that route, it's okay. Like, I seen I'm riding through Atlanta right now. I see Money Man. He got these promotions going. His main line is a 9 to 5 isn't corny, being broke is.
Yeah.
And it really hit me, because I'm like, man, a lot of people out here thinking 9 to 5 is a bad thing. I know a lot of people took a 9 to 5 as billionaires right now. Now, you might not be a billionaire at 30. You might be a billionaire at 60. But the path was great, because you stood by something that was like, man, I'm not too good to go do what I need to do. You know what I mean? So that I like that promotion that he's doing right now. And I think that we still need to be like, yo, it's okay to do this. It's okay to meet this guy if it's the right synergy and take 30 grand so I can go get something done, or or do it on my own. You know what I mean? I'm really pushing that as well, like doing it on your own, because right now you don't really need a lot of money to do stuff. You just need to know which way to go. You know what I mean? So that's just my point.
I kind of want, while we're talking about, the structure of deals and everything, I kind of want to go into different types of deals. Like, there's 360 deals. There's deals where you're owning your masters. There's, like, as you said, a distribution deal. Can you kind of break down the different types of deals? What's a distro deal versus a 360?
A 360 deal is when you're signing and signing to an independent, signing to a production company, or straight to a label. This is a deal where the person that's in business with you is eating off every little piece. So you got ancillaries that come from tour, they come from merch. Sometimes it comes from endorsement deals with sneaker companies or movie contracts. However the 360 is set up. Those are some. That's the most current deal that people get into. Now you have people doing those, and outside of that, have master ownership deals where they own majority of the master, which means they have control over syncs when they go to television, certain things like that. Then you have distribution deals where, I've seen some people do 85-15 splits where they keep 85% and 15% from the company. It's like a distro deal is what they call it. Or some people, go to DistroKid and get 100% of their money. You know what I'm saying? And the distro deal breakdown is basically just using the tools of these companies while you're getting your independent stuff together, pretty much. That's what it looks like. It's just a distribution. It's not really somebody telling you how to make the product, helping you with the product. It's just like using the tools. So it's like, this might be Empire and I'm using their marketing tools. I might be using their publicity. I might be using that. And, that percentage comes out of what you earn or whatever's coming through the pipeline. So those are there's so many deals. You got licensing deals now, artists doing their licensing deals and taking an advance against the license for a certain amount of year and they get it back. You know what I mean? So all that's all those deals. It's so many.
There's
bro.
a lot of different types of deal structures in there.
It's so many.
So I kind of want to get into the social media thing you touched on earlier, because now it seems like to get those types of deals that you're talking about, does an artist need to kind of have their own buzz going on to get, like, say, like, I want to have one of these master deals where I get the 85% 15 with the label versus, like, because in the past radio was the number one channel. Now we're in the streaming era, SoundCloud, Spotify. Does an artist need to have their own type of like established fan base prior to?
It helps. It helps for certain people. I mean, us for Generation Now, we nobody that we were rocking with had this big social media presence. We never built on numbers and analytics. Sometimes that's cool when you want to hit a base hit or hit a home run, you might get it, but we've never won being in a bidding war for somebody that has this big social media following. You know what I mean? I'll jump in, and once it's there, it's like everybody's hollering at you. You know what I'm saying? I was following this kid just now. I love his music. But, when I went to talk to them, they was like, yo, you could throw an offer in. And that's basically like, for us, because it's like, you know what I mean? That means that a lot of people.
In a bid war.
Yeah. I'm not good with bidding wars.
Yeah.
Like, I'm happy with what's for us is for us, or what's for me is for me. I'm not really fighting to get nobody's attention. I know what we do. You study and you respect what we do, or respect what I do, and you'll learn it. You know what I mean? Like I said, like Jack Harlow didn't have no big social media presence. Uzi didn't have no big social media presence. Even the artists we got now, they don't have any big social media presence before we met them. This is just pure talent and conviction that we went through to find them. But it does leverage certain things. Like, I talk about a lot of artists in certain interviews and how they set up themselves to be master owners, or doing certain things. So I think there's life in being big on social media. We've seen a lot of people build careers on social media to where they've got endorsement deals, they got, advertising, so I can't say it's wrong. I just say for us, it's tough for me to buy into that because I can't really see the talent in it. You know what I mean?
Kind of thinking that, I hate to use him as the example, but like a 6ix9ine, right?
Yeah.
Where I think the man's music is trash. I just don't like it. It's not for me.
Same.
But the social media antics kept him relevant. It kept him.
Even Lil Pump, dog.
Yeah, like that whole little colorful hair era. That was not a fun time for me to rap.
I mean, they smart kids, and that's what I look past. Like, I'm not even into like the personal shit. Like, really, I be like really studying like, well, how did they get here?
Yeah.
Like, I'm watching like Lil Pump and whoever's out there. These guys are smart in their own right. Like, they marketers. These kids 17 years old.
Yeah, they took advantage of it.
I know I was doing that. I knew how to market. I didn't have social media, but I knew how to get people to listen to my music or recognize me. I knew what to do. I knew what scratches to do on what songs in the cafeteria or what song to play to get the attention I needed to be like, yo, I fuck with Holmes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I know what they're doing. So I pay attention to all the kids and what they're doing because it's like, you know, on a competition level, we all go, oh, that's trash and all this. But I'm watching how they're captivating crowds by doing certain things, how they stay in motion and things. Like, that's very important. Like, that's a skill in itself. Like, to even, you know, even if you don't have the best of music, but you're able to market, that's hard as shit. Like, anybody know in any business, marketing is probably one of the hardest things to do. You know what I mean? So I'm watching these kids do that, and it's like, it's amazing. So, you know, I just watch from afar. Like, I don't really want to get into the whole kind of academic blog type thing where I'm watching people like destroy. I'm watching how y'all marketing each other, how y'all doing that. You know what I mean?
How you reaching the masses?
Yeah, because it's important to me. I'm zoned in. I'm like Kobe. Like, I don't care about nothing but what's going on. Like, how do we tap into that? Like, all the other shit is cool, but you know what I mean? I'm really into watching them do that, and all them kids have done it. All of them, like all of them that's popping. I don't see a lot of gimmicks. I see a lot of shock value things, and I'm doing them. It's like, oh, this is good marketing. How are they doing this? You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's how I look at it. You know what I mean? But they captivated, like, you know, all that stuff. All these guys.
That's a good take on it. I never thought of it like that.
Yeah,
definitely caught the attention of the people for sure. And so next thing I want to get into.
At State Farm, we're committed to uplifting Black futures. In collaboration with organizations like 100 Black Men and National Urban League, State Farm provides high school students with the opportunity to learn and apply best practice strategies for saving and investing, all while offering academic support, life skills, and exposure to college access programs to prepare these students for life after high school. Check out 100blackmen.org and nul.org to donate and learn more. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Is with production, with producers. So as a producer, you kind of talked about some of the structures of deals earlier. How do producers get paid off of music?
Multiple ways. You got royalties, you have mechanicals, publishing, advances against, you know, whatever's coming out. So, like, you know, if I'm selling a beat, you know, most of the time I have a fee or an advance for using the product, you know what I'm saying? And then I have ways of getting publishing, royalties based on the record, and mechanicals. You know, all that stuff is like long-term money. You know what I mean? But those are all the ways you can.
So advances are like the immediate check versus the publishing, the royalties, and what was the last one?
Mechanical royalties, basically. Okay. Yeah.
So like with mechanical royalties, you're getting paid from, well, like you said, whenever it's on a TV, on a movie or something like that.
Yeah.
Or like
so,
every
so-called
time it's
sales.
Yeah. Every time it's streamed and all of that type of shit.
NFL, you know, all that's how you get paid. You know what I mean? When you get on TV, video games, all that stuff. You know what I mean?
I got you.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to move forward to some of the newer stuff that you're getting into. And one of the first things I want to talk about is Tomorrow. The thing that you're building currently. What actually inspired Tomorrow? And can you break down what is Tomorrow?
It started with an idea, you know, me and my fiance came up with. It's really, it's a creative marketplace. Mm-hmm. And basically, you know, one of the pain points I go through all the time, and I tell this all the time, I go to 83C and I go to these festivals and I do these speaking engagements, and I get tired of, you know, people, you know, at the end, they stand up, like, you got questions, and they stand up, and the first thing says, how do I get on? How do I do this? And my main answer was like, I never had a chance to ever tell them really what it is. It's always like, man, just keep working, put your 10,000 hours in, and, you know, which is true. But I still want more of a direct, streamlined answer for people when I'm going to them. Like, hey, this is how you do it. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And for a long time, I didn't have that answer. It's 15 years. It was just keep working hard. That's what I did. Now I have an opportunity with the app to really say, what do? You rap? Oh, come to the app. Get your cover art. Get your videographer. Get your stylist, get your producer, get your piano guy, your engineer, your master. Then we go to the next level. So that's where I wanted to get past. Like I got so tired of not having an answer because like I'm a person that don't like to stay the same. When you ask me a question, it's like put me on the spot and I'm not giving you no answer. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, man, work hard, bro. Keep doing it. And, you know, I wanted that opportunity to get to create a platform to where people had a real bullseye answer. And that's where it started. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And I kind of like how you just kind of gave a breakdown. So if I am an artist, what are some of the core, kind of like how you gave us the team for the label? Yeah. What's a team that you need for an artist to be successful?
So coming up now, you're going to need a producer. You're going to need a mix and master. But there's changes here. So you got people that's all in one. Some artists I'm meeting now, they sing, rap, make beats, mix, master, just don't know how to do cover art. Don't have the video people. They got the vision, but they don't have the people to carry out the vision or the stylists for the video. So they're missing all those. Then you have artists that are stylists but can't really find producers to make beats. So we're trying to eliminate this with the app to where you can streamline everything in one way where it's like, okay, I got my producer, got my mix and master. Let me find a stylist and my video guy. You know what I'm saying?
That's how you build your own team.
Yeah, because it's, you know, when you're an artist, it could come in variations of what you really need. Some people don't want a producer; they want to make their own beats and learn how to engineer. But they're not going to do everything. I don't know one person that's like, I do all of it. I'm the lawyer, the management.
It's too much to focus on. It's too much to focus on.
Yeah, it's too much. You know, unless you're just totally a business person and just half-ass artist. You know what I mean? So, it's a lot of things that go in it. Like some people don't have that many. It's just like I'm not doing no videos and no photography and no styling. I'm just doing songs. I'm putting those out. I never want to be seen. I want people to love my music and fall back. So it's like, you know, it's no real right or wrong answer to how much things go into what being an artist is or a producer is. It's like how you want to, you know, how far you want to take it. Yeah. You know what I mean?
What I love about Tomorrow is like kind of going back to what you were talking about earlier with being independent. It allows an independent person to establish their team. Like you can find you can find people in your city who do the things that can fortify your weaknesses. I do produce, but I'm not the best producer. So I can find this guy. He's gonna be. You got ratings on here to tell you where they are, where they're from. You can see how they work, and you don't necessarily have to be in the same city with these people either. Right? You can work with people
remotely,
all across the globe. So with Tomorrow, how does if I'm somebody in the industry, not necessarily an artist, but maybe a videographer or somebody, how do I get onto the platform?
So what you'll do is you'll get on the app, you'll set up a profile, sign up, set up a profile. Your profile is basically, if you're a videographer, a little bit of your videos, a couple pictures of what you've really done. And you have that there. And it allows people to go and look at the portfolio and say, oh, his work is nice. Let me hit him up and get some work done. Or, you know, vice versa. And this goes for all of the artists, creatives, artists, producers. Everybody has a portfolio to look at. And that's what's actually exciting about it because, you know, most people don't have the business card to look at. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm a videographer. Where you work? I got you. Let me get your email and I'm going to send you, or I'm going to try to DM. Now we got a wall. You know, we got a wall there, and that's the importance of it. Like, portfolio, wow, I see your work. I see people all the time. It was just a story yesterday. And it's people that do photography work, but now they're artists now, and they just don't. I'm going to be getting at you real soon. It's like, I'm waiting for the portfolio because that's what I want to see. I want to see the work. I don't, the type of person I am, I'm not the talker. I'm trying to see what's up. You know what I mean?
Definitely. You can't just tell me you're going to do it. I need to see what's going to look like.
So when you're on the app, that's your first step to success, is having that portfolio on the app and letting everybody be able to see it. You know what I mean? And that's what I like the most.
So I kind of want to get into the transition from being just into the music industry. This is more tech based. So what was that transition like for you? Had you ever done anything like this before? What was it like developing the app, like building the team for that? How was that process for you?
It was easy for me. I tell you, when I was 11, 10, maybe 10 years old, my mom had a Hewlett Packard. I always tell this story as well. I used to make video games on there. Just C, we do C:\\, and I do all this coding, and I made like these little like Oregon Trail type video games and stuff like that. So I've always been a tech dude. And then hooking up equipment and just knowing that, that's a form of tech, technology, knowing
just hardware, not software.
You see what I'm saying? So as I grew, I just always stayed ahead of the game. I always wanted the new phone. I had the SkyTel pager. I manipulated that to make my own ringtones. I did so much stuff moving into the world. And then, 2009 and 10, I had an app. I had an app. It was called the Don Cannon app. You could go on the app and you could see where I was DJing at for the next month. I had a platform called Studio Rats. You could go in there and look at the Studio Rats. It's basically like an impromptu studio session of me working with maybe Asher Roth back then, or Cool Kids, or Currency. Well,
shout out to Spitter.
I had all that on the app, and I think it was too. It felt a little personal, so it was like I need to figure out that. So I kind of let it breathe, die out a little bit because it was just too personal. It's like, man, you're gonna find out on the internet, Ticketmaster, where I'm at. How can I next level it? So I just it kept changing, but I always stayed technical. I was always internet. I was always, what's the next move? Figure out Wi-Fi, figure out encryptions, figuring out how not to get hacked. You know what I'm saying? All the way into, the DAT piffs and how we can get music out over the net, or, how we can promote over the net. So it's always been a tech. It's just not me popping up like, yo, he's now in tech now, because, you can get that stigma of people like, yo, he just moving because everybody else doing black, you can get that stigma, but this just always being in me. And hopefully what I'm putting out there, people seeing it like, oh no, he really been doing it. Like anybody that I grew up with or anybody out there can attest to how much stuff I've done.
This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. It's tax season and we're all a bit tired of numbers, but here's one you need to hear. $16.5 billion. That's how much the IRS flagged for possible identity fraud last year. Now here's a good number. 100 million. That's how many data points LifeLock monitors every second. If your identity is stolen, they'll fix it. Guaranteed. Save up to 40% your first year at LifeLock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
On the technical side, even my cribs be technical. It's like the Matrix. You have to, hit the little button. This works, the thermostat, this does, it's just always been like that for me. So it just always runs concurrent. It's nothing that I'm out here doing. Like, I don't drink liquor, so I don't have a liquor company. You know what I'm saying? I don't have cannabis, I don't smoke. So it's like, this is something that I really do.
Something that's a passion of yours that you took.
There you go.
And applied it to help artists.
There you go.
So you said it was easy. When you say easy, like, you just found the right coder and everything like that, you didn't have no hiccups in the road?
So no, we had a lot of hiccups. You know what I mean? But what I mean by easy was the thought process and getting it done. That's the first step. That's the easiest part. All the rest of the stuff is not easy. So I'll break it down for you. I can be totally transparent. I had somebody that I came up with in school. He was already doing apps. I tried to get him to do the app. It didn't turn out well. We moved forward. We lost money there, right? So then I felt like, because I did this, I'm more of a, when I say architect, that moves into puzzles, figuring things out and being a solutionist. So then I started thinking about, oh man, I took the weight on my shoulders, like, oh, I fucked that up. Let me find out who really does this. So I went into a deep dive in the internet. You go black market, you go all down there, and then I turned up and I found a company that actually built it for us, and then took us through each step. Like, we watched it getting built. We talked to certain people while it was getting built. We had a product manager and stuff like that. Yeah, and one of the hardest things as an entrepreneur is, as Black entrepreneurs, we had this. We are almost oppressed a lot of times. We see money going out the door, and we feel like we're not gonna make it back. Mm-hmm. So we're kind of like always hustling. So the first thing is, hey, this is gonna cost a lot of money. That's money out the door. It's the bootstrapping. That's hard as shit to do on your own. To bootstrap something that's gonna cost a lot of money, and figure like, man,
especially
we might
in
not.
Tech space.
Yeah, we might not see any income from this in 5 years, 3 years, 30 years. But it's a step forward into believing in a process. So we had those.
Making that investment in yourself.
That's right. So we have these hiccups where you run into people that don't really know what they're doing. Mm-hmm. We had a couple of people that thought they knew how to promote, know how to market. You know what I'm saying? And just do a whole bunch of stuff. Those are all hiccups. And then you run into once you have your MVP and you have your app, then you got to worry about bugs. You know what I mean? Is it working properly? Can I show it to people? Like it's so much. It's not that part is not the easy part. The easy part is the process of what we think it should look like, how we want it to be perceived. But as far as like all the other stuff, that's the hard shit. Paying for it and it being $200,000, but wind up being $275,000 or $500,000 because
Sheesh.
you run it. You run it into all these
hiccups. You had
you got
the first person that you thought could do it that you paid.
You budgeted out for that. Now you gotta double back and do it again.
And like you find out later, like we could have. There's people out here that make apps and they sell their mainframe or their frame for the app, and you can copy that app and be a lot cheaper. You know what I'm saying? And
white label.
We didn't go that route. We didn't go to Snapchat and copy that mainframe. We did our own mainframe. Then you got to think about being on iOS, which is Mac, and then going to Android and paying the same amount of money that you paid for that one because they're not compatible. They're making ways of doing it now, but these are all the things we're thinking about. We got that up and people hit you like, yo, I'm on Android. I really want to be on a platform. How can I do it? And I want to be like, man, go get an iPad, it's an iPhone. But at the same time, like we got to pay for an Android version. So all these hiccups you learn through the process. You know what I mean? And I was used to the process doing this with music. Like, we'll break an artist, you come back with another artist, they're like, oh yeah, you got that one off, but I don't know about this one. Then I got to make him a superstar. And then they come back the same thing. Oh, you had them too. It's just always a song dance. So it's the same process when we're building this. It's like, we know we're going to run into some stop signs. Mm-hmm. We just got to get past it. So those are all the hiccups that we run into. And then, funding. And funding in itself is hard to get people to believe. Yeah. I got so many people that fuck with me on the music tip, but just be tap dancing on the investment.
Oh, that's dope, bro.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I'd be like, man, don't miss the train. I'm giving you an opportunity to be a part of a unicorn. Mm-hmm. And it'd be like, you know what I'm saying? And I don't want it to be too late, but all the investors out there, you're listening, I'm telling y'all, that's all I'm saying.
So I do want to ask this. Is tomorrow available like through a website? If an artist wants to get on the platform that way, could they go into like their browser and do that?
We were thinking about making a web piece of the brand, mm-hmm. but right now we're just on iOS. Yeah, gotcha. We have a website. You can go check out the website. You can learn about it and everything. But it's really just iOS. You could do the iPad if you got it, because it's the same form.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And so with the marketplace, how are you guys going to be making y'all money off of it? Are y'all charging a certain percentage for everything coming through?
Yeah.
How's that set up?
It's going to be a percentage on the jobs that's coming through. So that's how we're making our money, and that's how we're keeping the brand going.
So good. So also with it, what is like the cost of actually maintaining that? Because a lot of people think that, once I get it built, it's just good. But then there's also like maintenance with apps. Like you said, there's bugs. Yeah. There's people that try to hack shit. Like, what's the cost of actually maintaining an app as well?
So again, being all transparent, because I want people to know what it takes. When we did the first MVP and the first app with that company, after we built it, it cost us like $300,000, right? Maintenance was around between $11,000 and $15,000 a month.
Jesus.
Right, for maintenance. Then we moved into where we kind of so I break it down with Tomorrow. When we first did the Tomorrow app, it was for all creatives across the board. So we were going for DJs, they wanted to do weddings and all that. But people kept coming to me and asking me, how can I get in the music business? So it was only right for us to get it into the music aspect and get a niche. Like that way I can give you ideas better. When I'm there, it's like, I don't know about weddings like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? But I do know about music. And I'm 100% sure that this could be the way you get to the next level. So all that being said, when we swapped it over, we started, making little tweaks and stuff like that. But again, maintenance every month. iOS changes every month. New bugs are changes.
Privacy rules.
Our maintenance is $6,000 to $10,000 a month. You know what I mean? Just keeping it going and keeping, adding things. And it's just an ongoing thing. The baby has to grow. You got to keep feeding it. You know what I'm saying? We got verification with things now, where you become the verified creative. And, we just keep adding things. We're building brands. We're doing the Beat Store, which is coming up pretty soon. It's just an ongoing thing, and the train doesn't stop. You just have to keep paying out, and just what the investment calls for. You know what I mean?
They say, I like that analogy of a baby with business, because people always think a business is going to be a full-grown adult, right? Like, this thing going to be itself is going to be feeding me. We're going to have to take care of that thing for a few years before it becomes be able to be independent and start doing it.
That's
so I'm
right.
glad that you share that.
That's right, man. That's right.
And what type of growth have you seen since y'all launched?
We've seen a lot. We have thousands of creatives. I don't know the exact number, but it's a whole lot. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
We're growing by the minute. We're seeing anywhere from 200 to 300 downloads a day. You know what I mean? And I think that's just coming from word of mouth and, us jumping into really getting to certain creatives and helping them engage. Like we did a project with Brittany B. And Brittany B is like, she's been out here. She's on Love and Hip Hop. She does music. Great writer. We did a situation with her where we're helping her find creatives for her project, like the photographer, producer, writers, all that for our project. So that's doing really well. And it's just us engaging in the community and helping people get the things they need to blow up. You know what I mean? So those are the things that's helping. Again, it's tough because it's Black owned. We're out here just doing it. We're not really got a super VC behind us pushing this joint. We're just really, doing this off the rip, and just to see thousands of people get on this app and be a part of something that can be big, it means a lot because it's helpful for the community and the creatives.
My guy Reggie actually shared a video with me. It was like whenever people hear Black owned, they think that we're looking for some type of handout or like they're acting as it's a charity instead of actually investing in a business. So it's interesting that you just said, the hurdles that we have to face as being Black owned.
Absolutely. Me and my guys always talk like on a money level. And it's like, bro, we made tons of money and we put tons of money back into the community. We never got a chance to invest in Target and Uber and these type of companies because we weren't accredited. We didn't get that chance. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times. So
that early stage investment.
Yeah. So like being in this, so-called minority space, like it's great for us to be able to poke our chest out and be like, yo, it's Black owned because we went through all the hardships to get here. This ain't just some, producer that made a lot of money just trying to put it into something. This is like for the community, bro. This is some real, like, I'm really passionate about this. It's like, it's helping me a lot because I really had an issue not giving people real answers. I couldn't, I might not have been lying, but it was like, it wasn't a real answer for me to say keep working hard.
You couldn't get into the particulars of everything.
There you go. There you go.
I am glad that you created this solution because I got in my head when I first seen it, I'm like, bro, this is like Fiverr, but specifically for
the music
industry.
Yeah.
And I think it's so necessary for like, artists and creators to have that centralized platform that they can go to. So definitely, man, you have our support here at Black Love.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm gonna throw this out there too. It's not just for creatives. We got labels. Any label owners out there, any people that have independent companies, even the real labels like Atlantic, they should get on there and find the creatives. We got thousands of people ready to work, like that are dope as hell. Like that's opening. We got the client side, we got the creative side. So, if you're a client and y'all could go on there and find people to do, artwork,
Chop up the pot.
Or do y'all intro, like somebody rap, it's so much stuff for everybody. Like y'all can just hire people, you know what I mean?
Hey, that's dope. That's a great idea. I appreciate that. And you kind of actually talked about investing. Us being Black Wealth Renaissance, that's something that we really like to push with the community is just financial literacy.
Yep.
Were you investing early on, or was that something that you were taught in your younger days? You say you touched a lot of paper.
Yeah.
Was that something that you were doing throughout your younger days until now?
Yeah. So luckily, even growing up, like we had good lives, but we were still not even, in the mid class at some point. My mom was an accountant. She used to do all our family's taxes because they didn't have a bunch of money to pay CPAs to do certain things. So she always, coming up, she always taught me that. That's why I took business management, because it's like, bro, I'm not going to take accounting. She's already teaching me that. And she's always taught me like how to save, how to invest. I had CDs early in life. It wasn't a bunch of money, but it was just money.
Something that's giving you a return on something. At least.
Yeah. My money marketing accounts was no money in there. I didn't have nothing. I was in school eating, chicken patties, and what I'm saying.
Shout out to the
camp. School, what I'm saying. So, she taught me how to do that. When I first got my chunk of change, she wasn't even excited. She was like, "Oh yeah, come on, we're gonna put this away for taxes, put this away for the investment, put this," and I was like, "Man, I just made this money. Can I spend this shit?" You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, "Man, fuck that." You know what I mean? So she taught us how to invest. I got into like early utilities. I don't know if people know about stocks and bonds and utilities. Like I was investing in certain gas monies and just making money. It saved me a couple times because, a couple times being young, I ran through a lot of bread and I was able to pull from that. You're just having the cash on hand just to save my life. You know what I'm saying? So I was always in the stocks since like 26. I was always in like I said, the utilities and just having those retirement accounts. And I just always was in that space. Like even people around me that's getting money, it's like, bro, you always been on some financial literacy shit. I was like, yeah, my Dukes put me on, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, shout out to Miles for real, dog.
Put me on. So I had a lot of that, a lot of those anchors. You know what I mean? She was just like, again, we didn't come from a lot of money. We just, we made it work for what we had, and we have some of the same backgrounds as everybody. Like everybody wasn't rich. Everybody didn't have a lot of money. But I was thankful that she taught me those because I can carry that on. And now I know how much I can play around with, how much you got to put away, how much we need to do for the taxes.
The fact that she told you to put some money away for taxes.
Texas, hell yeah.
Clutch, I already know, because imagine how many, well, not just imagine, I'm sure you've seen it firsthand.
Yeah.
Artists get their first check and they think, man, I got this advance for $1 million, I got $1 billion. And it's like, oh, buddy.
Nah, play ball.
You got 600,000 off top. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and not for nothing, I'll give you a little background. So I do a lot of issuing. Like, so if I have issues, I always wonder where the issue comes from. So when I look back at my childhood and we grew up, we had a lot of problems with police. And the police like stopping us and pulling us over, harassing us and all this stuff. My cousin got killed when we were younger by the police, and it just I've always had a problem, with the law at some point, and I just felt like at any point it wasn't in my hands. You know what I mean? So I was like, yo, let me make it in my hands and do all the right things. So that came with the taxes. Make sure you pay your taxes. So in 8 years, you don't get tax evasion and have to do something that you didn't want to do, like go to jail. You know what I mean? So a lot of that stuff was like, yo, just get these things out the way. These are the rules. Try to figure out the loopholes. Try to figure out certain things, but keep your, PTSD down by, doing the right thing. So that's what, keeps me on the straight and narrow with always putting this aside for, Uncle Sam. Put that away just in case, you got to reach out and touch the money at some point.
Rainy day fund.
Get an investment. So, we got a lot of that going on as young Black dudes. Just like we be successful and then we end up making a terrible choice on greed and having to pay for it later. IRS might not come get you that day. You know, they may come get
They
you
don't like
later
to come
on.
get you the first time.
they let it build up.
Yeah.
They get a case on you, then they come pop out.
Or even if you don't pay it right away, man, the interest rates on that money is ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? So I learned my way through that and just kind of stay on the way. It's like, hey, man, I made this money, put that away, get that out the way. Or spend it all and I had to pay nothing. You know what I mean? But again,
doing it the right way.
There you go. There you go. So that's where I'm like, you know, trying to keep it smart. And I'm teaching all the people around me, like, when you get your advance, put your money aside for certain things. You know?
Yeah,
that's dope. That's dope. Cause we always see the stories of like this artist, the fall from glory, where they had all of this money or whatever.
The MC
and like,
Hammer story.
Yeah, like they get, but people be sleeping on MC Hammer. MC Hammer still kind of shook back. Like he got some investments and shit.
The stories.
But yeah. But we see all of those things, and I'm happy that you're talking to your people that you bringing up, like, yo, this is what you need to do, because now they can move smarter, they can make these investments, and they can put back, and you can. They're going to teach the people that's coming up behind them, and it's really just planting that seed into them for it to keep on growing and just keep on cultivating. I love that shit.
It's about learning, bro, because, you know, again, we all came oppressed at some point. You know what I mean? So, you know, when you get your first chunk of change at 21 years old, a kid's getting a record deal for $3-4 million, fucking 2.5 of it in cash in pocket. It's like, what do you do at 21 years old like that? That's a dream come true. We always came up riding by like, oh, that's my car. Or when I get $1 million, I'm going to do this. So once you got that $1 million at 21, we be like, oh, shit. And then it goes out the door. And we don't learn until we got to make it back. So I want to get out there, like, even some of the artists now, when they get their advances, I'm like, yo, you should do your joint in chunks where, you know, make them pay you how much it is. You know, first of all, every month you should have a balance sheet of how much you need to make to be okay. Your bills, your entertainment, your food, whatever you need to do. But once you have that money set aside, say your monthly bills is $5,000. I was telling some people, make some of your advance every month be $6,500, $7,000, that it comes once a month and not all in your pocket. You know what I'm saying? So you can
annuitize it out.
Yeah, so now you covered your bases and you ain't gotta worry about the money dwindling because I just bought a watch or I just bought a chain or I bought all the new Balenciaga shit. Like, take a piece of that money and fuck around with it and then put the rest of the money on your daily, your monthly things. Like, shit, I'm getting a monthly for $10,000 every month, taking care of my bills, taking care of everything I need. Then I can take a little $25,000-$30,000, buy clothes, cars, whatever I need, and pay for your stuff. That's why I've been teaching people. There's so many ways. They don't think about their money like that. They just think, I'm getting $600 coming in. You know what I mean?
They just see the O's, dog.
Bro,
just see the O's.
It's sad. I went through it, and that's where we get the difference between the young guys and the OGs is that we never get a chance to listen to OGs most of the time. Like, man, they old. They don't know what they're talking about. But I'm telling these guys,
the biggest thing I think about is whenever Joe Budden and Lil Yachty, like, Budden was telling him like, yo, dog, and he was just like, nah, dog, you tripping. Like, nigga, I just want to be the artist. I just want to create. And then a few years later, he came back. He was like, you know, I kind of was fucking up. I really had to self-reflect. So I think that's really major, dog. And one of the last things I kind of want to talk about is the artists that y'all are working with right now. Jack Harlow, the Uzis. Like, what is that like having some of those major people on the label and really just keeping those people going? Do you have to do a lot of the marketing because they're so hot? Like, how does that work?
The good thing about both of those artists that you speak of, one, Uzi is a self-marketer, like we were talking about, came up in that age. He knows exactly how to stay hot, how to get hot if he need be, where to get the shock value from, and what type of songs he wants to make for his
diamond in his head.
You know what I'm saying?
That was the one for me.
Holmes is incredible with that.
Yeah.
We could never take that away from him. Like, you know, we add the nooks and crannies on it and, you know, and push the button for him. But for the most part, Holmes know what he's doing. To follow up, I mean, he had a vision. To follow up, Jack is the same person. He has a vision. He knows the shock value. He knows how to get there. He knows the records to make. And he knows how to captivate the crowd. These guys is really convicted on what they be doing. Like, you know what I mean? And we're happy that we were able to get next to these guys to help their vision become bigger than life. But these guys already had it. The people we got coming up, Seddy Hendrix, Illuminati, Sunny Digital, which is a legend.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Carvina, which is our new R&B sensation. And any artist that's coming forward, we just want people to be convicted and know what they're doing so we can help them with the vision. And the way it's looking, like all these guys know how to do that. They know how to shock value. They know how to get to the next level. They know how to do all this stuff. So all we're doing is moving the train. We're driving the train from letting them go. It's the product, and that's where it comes in. We don't have to do a lot of marketing, like you're saying. Like we have to, just keep pushing what they got going on, and it's special. A lot you don't get that from a lot of artists. Yeah. But nowadays, these kids know how to do that. These kids know everything about YouTube. Yeah. Everything about TikTok. They get hot fast. They know that, everything at the right moments. They teach me about, just go and look at your analytics and see at 3 o'clock on Wednesday, that's the hottest time for you to drop this. I'm sure y'all know when to drop your podcast. So we just sitting back and like, okay, we know you don't know how to really, drive there, but you got the product and you know what to do. So that's how we
tapped in on that side. We was going to refine it on the...
There you go. Refine it, the perfect word.
Since the kids also tapped in, is it harder to find artists nowadays? Because I feel like it's so easy because we did grow up in the era where, we jumping on the Instagram. We had MySpace back in like 8th grade. Like we've been on the social media for so long. Like you were talking about earlier, the people that got the big social media presence. Is it hard to find some of those artists who are going to really deliver that product that it's longevity, like a Uzi or like a Jack Harlow?
Yeah, it's hard as shit. I ain't gonna lie. Only because when we were younger, I say this, like even in your era, like if you had on the Jordan 3s, bro, I wore these. You wore them. You know what I mean? We all wanted to be like, I'm me. You know what I'm saying? Now we see a lot of, if he got an iced out watch, I need an iced out watch. That's gonna make me pop. Or, if social media is doing this, I'm gonna copy his social media. If he got purple, blue hair, I'm gonna get purple and blue hair. It's not really a lot.
Copycat sounds type stuff. Too.
Everything. If he sound like that, and he make pain music, I'm gonna make pain music. And again, the hip hop culture is addictive. Like we got a lot of like elements in there that make you want to be that. Like even from a fan's perspective, like when I was little, I wanted to be LL and Mobb Deep and Biggie. Like I just wanted to get the Versace shirt as soon as I had enough money to get it. You know what I mean? People wanted to be a Pac and and do certain things, get the Baldy. Like it's an influential thing, but at the same time it's hard because we don't know what's what. All we're looking at is social media and we're seeing 55,000 people following this kid. He got 150 comments. What does this mean? Like, does this mean that we can take him off social media, put him at Rolling Loud, and the whole stadium gonna go crazy? No. You know what I'm saying? So we see a lot of that. Yeah, we see a lot of artists. They got 500,000 views. They got all the stuff and then can't sell a hard ticket to save their life. Have a room with 50 people in it. It's like, man, we thought you had 1 million followers. Like, what's going on? It don't connect the same. So we're still the great thing about that is we're able to still be the foundation to help people grow from a seed. You know what I'm saying? And not, from the social media hype. I don't think we would do well with somebody like that.
Like you said, you don't look at that as the main thing. You're trying to just find people who have music that really connects with their audience.
Facts.
So, Don, man, I want to say thank you so much.
I appreciate y'all having me, man. Appreciate y'all having me.
We're going to get into just a couple of the last little questions that we like to ask.
So,
we talked about some of it with the personal finance side of things, but I want to ask, what's a personal finance tip or principle that you live by?
What's poppin', guys? It's Jay Jonah here from Blowing Smoke. If you're a fan of fun, insightful, and breakthrough conversations, then be sure to check out and subscribe to the Blowing Smoke podcast, a show that covers life experiences and firsthand testimonies from some of your biggest names in your favorite industries. And it's all brought to you exclusively right here by the Revolt Podcast Network, anchored in hip-hop, powered by creators.
That you like to share with the people?
I got the 50, 30, 20, and 10 rule.
Okay. Talk to me. I know what it is, but talk to me.
No, you don't. I might then. So it's actually 10 and 10. So if I got 50 that I put away. I got 30 that I play around with. 20 that I choose as philanthropy is what I call. Like I have something set away for and that makes my 100%. If I split them in 10, it's philanthropy and just investing in. It's two different things. Investing in little companies. Like if y'all got a company and y'all need some backing, that would be part of my 10% for that. Or just if I break them up in 10s, like what I'm saying. Sometimes I keep the 20, like all philanthropy. I might go around the city. I might give people money. Friends call. Everybody. My sister want to go to school. Want to do. That's just money out the door that I don't know is coming back. You know what I mean? So as long as I got my 50 away and my 30 to play with, the 20 or the 2 10s, I go and either everybody got hardship. You can borrow money and got some people just a lot of the 10% sometimes be having meals and paying for people's merch, just that don't got nothing to do with the music. It's something they trying to do on the side. So those are my my pushes. You know what I mean?
Definitely wasn't what I was thinking. I heard of
what was your thinking?
It was like a budgeting. It's kind of like the same, but it was a budgeting rule that I had read about.
50,
30 is. Yeah, like you live off 50, you pay 30% of like debts.
Yep.
Then the other ones, it's like investing.
Yeah.
And then another one is like
saving.
Yeah, your savings, like emergency saving funds and stuff.
So my 50 it involves debt paying off.
I got you.
You know what I'm saying? So
you keep that in the living expenses.
Yeah, because my 30, I don't want to play around. I want to go buy all the sneaks and all that shit. You know what I'm saying? So I get the debt out, and that's one of the first things I do too. When I get money, I clear the debt. Period on everything. I don't, and some people say, "Hey man, you should leverage debt." And all that. I just pay all debt. People talk debt free. I just don't like owing nobody. I don't like owing money at all. At all. I don't want nobody to say, "He ain't pay me." I'm paying. I don't like owing people money.
Money good everywhere.
Yeah.
Your name good everywhere.
Yeah.
So I got some questions, and it's 3 of them, real rapid. First one: are you frugal or are you flexor?
I go back and forth, man. So some days I'm frugal. Like she'll tell you, like I'm frugal some days. Some day I'm flexing. You know what I'm saying? Most days I'm frugal. Some days I get up like, we out. It's baller day. What we call it? It's fucking Fridays. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We go fucking Fridays and just go ape shit for no reason. But sometimes that gives me a rush to keep hustling. Sometimes I might get staggered and just like the frugal space, like, man, you not having no fun. You making all this money. You ain't doing nothing. Sometimes I just get in that space like, fuck it, we out.
Yeah.
We just go ball with that wherever we do. Sometimes I take the shit back. You know what I'm saying? Like, you went crazy. Yeah, you went crazy. But most of the time we just go have fun, bro. It just keep me sane. And I just recently found out it's a term for this shit. It's called inspirational shopping. So I'm like, oh shit, as a creative, I needed inspirational shopping to help me think about the next things I'm doing. But I know somebody that was telling me in California, they get paid to do inspirational shopping for a certain artist. And they get like a certain budget, it'd be like $3 million or something like that. And they'll go all over the world and get all this shit and bring it back. And that person gets inspiration from that. So I'm like, oh shit, that's what I'd be doing. 'Cause most of the time I'd just be shopping for inspiration. I go right before the studio, I do stuff and never knew what to call it. But when they took the receipts to the accountant, it was inspirational shopping. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, oh, okay, I got you. That's my new shit now.
That's hard.
You know what I mean?
So the second one is, how are you building wealth for your future? What are you doing? A lot of people, we think about the money side, but really building that wealth for your legacy.
Network. So everybody thinks wealth was built on money most of the time. It's just controlling the money. Mine is basically my network. If I can give enough opportunities in the world, and I'm not wishing for it to come back, but I put enough opportunities in the world that if I ever need something, my olive branch or my network will help me stay afloat, period, in any situation. And that's how I do right by people. I like to try to get as many people put on and try to put people in so many positions to make money because, me and Drum say all the time, we have a passion for people blowing up. You know what I'm saying? So if I can put that out there and just always have my network, I'm cool. I know a bunch of people that don't have a lot of money, they have a solid network, that they don't need it. They always going to be able to have a roof over their head. They always going to have family members. They always going to have certain pieces that keep them, You know, Pharrell's clothing line is wealth is in the heart and not in the pocket. You know what I'm saying? The wealth is of the mind and not in the pocket. That's what Billionaires Boys Club was built on. So that's how I think about it. I think about, how much I'm putting out there as a network. Like, it don't have to be money in your pocket. I can just tell you where you can shoot your podcast. It's going to give you 2 million views on that day. You know, that's going to live with you forever. You're going to be like, man, Don, I remember Don said blah, blah, blah. And even if you don't kick it back, it's cool. It's just putting it out there in the world that
it's gonna come back somewhere.
Do right by people that, like you said, the energy comes back.
Yeah,
even if they don't pay it back, the energy.
Everybody don't appreciate it, but I'm not there for their appreciation. I'm just there as in, my legacy. I want to be able to give out as much energy for a step for somebody as possible. And that's how I'm gonna stay wealthy in my life, I think.
Okay, my last one. Do you have life insurance?
No, but it's funny you said that. My mom just called me the other day and was like, yo, there's some pretty good rates on life insurance. And I was asking her, I was like, yo, give me some breakdowns because, my whole thing was insurance is like, they scare you. You know what I mean? It's like, what if something happens? That's an erratic way to invest or an erratic way to put money towards something.
Factor.
It's a fear factor. I don't never want to invest because I'm fearful. And that's why I never got life insurance. You know what I mean? And life is unpredictable. You never know what's going to happen. But she just called me the other day like, yo, you should really just do some study on it, look at it, and see what it's about. Some really good rates. Some people can do it where they can pull money from it in an emergency. That's one thing I haven't gotten to is life insurance. And trust funds, really. I'm starting to learn the trust fund thing, too. It's just those things, again, being oppressed, like when you make a certain amount of money as a people, we always want to have enough cash on hand for emergencies. And then, and the other side, they don't have any cash. You know what I'm saying? Like, most white people don't have any cash. They invest everything. Us, we black, like, man, what if I need 50 grand real quick to do? Like,
liquidate your investments if need be, but
see what I'm saying?
We'd rather have it in cash.
We got to see it. It's got to be in the account so you can be like, I'm good. You know what I mean? So, I'm starting to get into it now. I'm gonna study it, but again, insurance is still it plays on the fear. So I'm just kind of like
it's definitely an uncomfortable conversation for most. Like I get it with life insurance because it's like I know the first time I had bought life insurance for myself, I was like, it sent me down a dark place. I'm like, damn, bro, what if I really die? Like, I'm 20 years old. What if I die tomorrow? Like. Just thinking about it all, but I definitely think it's still one of those things for our community. It is important to have.
Word.
Just on the in case, because I mean, like everybody's situation is different financially. I know, like for somebody like you don't like to accrue debts. You make sure you pay your stuff off. But one of the major benefits that one of our financial advisor friends, Wes, had taught us was like using life insurance to pay off your debts. And then another one, the strategy Chris taught us, buy, borrow, die. Was just like. You get life insurance to cover the cost of all the assets that you have. And then whenever you die, your life insurance pays the assets off so that you can pass it down to your kids.
So that's one thing she was telling me about. It's crazy because I thought when you die, it's just whatever. You still have to pay shit when you dead. I didn't know that. So I'm like,
it even costs when you die.
It's like, yo, you get this just in case. House and everything will be paid off and you don't leave that debt to your wife or your kids and stuff. I'm like, damn, they make you pay that shit when you die? Holy shit. So that's like that part makes sense. So they don't burden the loved ones, penalties or whatever. So
and another thing with life insurance, a lot of times whenever people do talk about life insurance, it really should be called death insurance because that's what people are referring to it as. But there are policies that you can activate and use while you're living. Another one of the things that I think it was Corey actually, he was teaching us, is like there's a policy that if you get sick, you can tap into this money and they'll pay for your the living benefit. They'll pay for your hospital bills, your doctor bills. If you're missing time away from work, you can tap into some of those things. So I always ask that question because once again, being Black Wealth Renaissance, I want our community to know that these are things that we don't talk about, but I feel like we all should just really tap into and have access to.
That's a fact. I want to get over the hump because, there's been times where I had car insurance and I might have crashed back in the day, and I had to go through a whole bunch of fucking hula hoops to get, my money, or just anything. I might have lost a piece of jewelry and I had to just do all this shit. And it's like, bro, I'm paying y'all $2,000 a month, and I gotta wait 3 months to get my bread. So I have to get over that hump with life insurance, thinking it's the same thing before I get in a space where I'm like, okay, I'm fully ready to go ahead and just put in. More than likely, just being ahead of the game and just kind of be a part of that, I may just jump into it just cause. But again,
just find you the right agent. Find you the right agent, the person you feel comfortable with. Like your mom said, bro, just do your research and figure out what you're most comfortable with.
Yeah, I'm on that. I appreciate that.
No problem.
Sure.
Well, Don, bro, again, gotta say thank you so much for coming.
No doubt, bro. I appreciate y'all.
Giving us your story, man, letting us learn more about tomorrow, the great things you're doing over there. And really, man, just thank you for coming out. So,
and speaking of tomorrow, let them know where they can download it at.
Yep.
Let them know where they can follow you, tap into everything that you got going on as well.
Okay, Tomorrow app is in the App Store, TMRO app. You can download it. Make sure you sign up, set up your portfolio. Man, for all the labels, label execs out there, get on there. There's tons of creatives out there waiting to work with you. They're talented as hell. Creatives, get on there. And one thing I left out, too, about the app, it helps you get paid. You know what I mean? A lot of people, you might find a creative in a DM and not get paid right away, or just got to chase your money down.
This PayPal and Cash App.
This is a way to get paid and security paid. So once that job is done, you kick pay, the money goes right into your account, and you gotta do a bunch of chasing. But make sure you get on there, man. I'm always on there looking for creatives. I'm about to set up a gig. A friend of mine wants me to mix a record. I'm about to get an engineer to mix the record on through the app. And just stay in that presence of the app, man. You always gonna find something on there, that you're gonna need. And not for nothing, you ain't gotta go through a bunch of social, bullshit to get what you need to get.
Business in the DMs ain't it,
bro. You know what I'm saying? So make sure you do that, man. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. All that shit is Don Cannon across the board. That's it, man.
Sure, man.
Hey, look, I'm gonna put it in the camera. This is what it look like.
Oh, I already got it on the phone, man. We might have to put it on the screen.
Yeah, there it
Y'all
is.
download that.
There it is.
Download that.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Well, Don, again, thank you, my brother. So we're going to hop into a couple house cleaning items before we get up out of here. As always, y'all, thank you for tuning into the Black Love
Yes, sir.
Podcast.
Yes, sir.
Y'all make sure y'all leave y'all boys that 5-star rating.
I need it.
There you go.
We need that. Don't be no whole ass nigga. We done told y'all, man.
Y'all.
BWR.
Once we call y'all some whole ass niggas, y'all left the review. So I guess y'all must like that shit or something.
Like, we have to insult y'all for y'all to come on and actually do something.
Yeah, we don't want to do that because we love y'all. We care about y'all.
Real shit.
Yeah.
Like, we got one dude told us he paid off like 75% of his debt, fixed his credit score, like just off listening to the pod, got his first investment property. It's a lot of valuable information that we share on the show. We just want to make sure that we helping y'all benefit and y'all helping others by
sharing it,
rating and reviewing.
Get the 5 stars, man. We got to pay bills too.
Yeah, exactly. I'm telling you.
Tap into Stack Summer. So this summer we focus on our health, our wealth, and just really getting our mind and pockets right while we entering into this time of economic uncertainty. Stack Summer to join. All you have to do is text the word stack to 337-455-7778. And then you'll join our group. It's over 600 other people in there, and we holding people accountable to reach their goals. My personal stack goal for this summer is 5,000. Jalen's is 10. We both, you're a little over halfway there.
Yes, sir.
I'm around halfway there, and we just gonna get to these goals, man. Mine, I'm stacking. I'm trying to get my first investment property.
Same here.
There you go.
So look. We here with y'all. We on this journey. So y'all join Stack Summer. Jalen, you got anything else for the people?
Nah, man. Once again, I just want to say thank everybody. But whenever y'all do the Stack Summer, y'all gonna get a link. Make sure y'all submit the information in the link so we can keep y'all updated with y'all personal stack goal. I want to make sure that this is personalized for y'all. So appreciate y'all for tapping in and just kicking it with your boys. Until next time, this is Black Wealth Renaissance signing out. Peace.
BWR.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
McDonald's has entered a Minecraft movie universe, and Grimace, Birdie, and Hamburglar just spawned as new collectibles as part of a Minecraft movie meal with your choice of Big Mac or 10-piece chicken McNuggets with spicy nether flame sauce.
Participate in McDonald's for a limited time. A Minecraft movie only in theaters.